Hey y'all, welcome back to Ascending with Ashley. I'm Ashley. It is Mercury retrograde, and I don't know about you, but oh man, these are all fucked up. This energy is really fucking intense. I'm not usually affected by Mercury retrograde as much as I am this one. So I feel like collectively we're at an impasse kind of thing. I know that, Mercury retrograde is all about letting shit go that's no longer serving you, reclaiming power and pieces of yourself. I don't know if that's what everyone else feels like it is, but that's what I always do during Mercury retrograde. I do a big assessment and what's the word I'm looking for? Assessment, essentially, of what I feel, where I'm going, what I want to be doing, that kind of thing, as well as clearing out the bullshit, right? Whether that's relationships, jobs, belief systems, actual physical stuff, and rest. Resting is really important because rest will give you the space to allow flow, right? So anyway, I want to do a collective reading. I want to share something that I've been investing in for years. Has been doing collective tarot readings on YouTube. It's kind of the reason I started my channel, and then life happened and I don't really do a lot of tarot readings on here or collective readings at all. I'm not as much as a tarot reader as I am an energy person, I guess. I don't know. I have like over 40 decks of cards and I rarely use any of them. I have purchased all of these, candle holders. I don't know where my tea lights are, but you can't see it anyway. I'm watching Leave the World Behind. Which is probably a part of the message. I just feel like we really need a collective reading. And I have my rose quartz here. Rose quartz is for the heart chakra. But I feel like, let's just pull some cards. I do have a couple decks here. And then I also have this thing, I don't know if you can really see that I'm pulling on. So it has the moon cycles, the sun, it has all the Western zodiacs on here. And yeah, I'm not in the best energy, but I feel like there's a message that really needs to come through. I feel like the collective is we're really going through some cooperation issues. So take that as it resonates with your own personal situation. These cards do not want to be shuffled. Look at that. I know my lighting sucks. I'm not worried about it. The I Release behind me was from... Okay, so I picked these up and these were left. So... Attraction, Hot, Mars, Reunion, Soul Tie, Third Eye, Clarity, Release, Surrender, and Purge in reverse, and Wish Fulfillment. I'm gonna be so fucking annoyed if this is another fucking twin flame fucking reading. The cooperation I'm talking about collectively is... There's a lot of infighting right now, racial stuff happening in regards to the movements. I'm white, I'm not even going to speak on it. I'm on my own path, decolonizing, far from fucking perfect. I feel like that's what this is. It's in reverse, Release, Surrender, and Purge. This is the only one that came out in reverse. I don't know why you're here watching this video. I'm sharing this reading because it's for the collective. I'm always thinking of collective liberation. Personally, I, have my own shit going on, but I feel like the wish fulfillment coming through is like this cooperation, the ability to, you know, have folks come together and really open up our third eyes. The attraction and hot here is speaking to probably interpersonal stuff. I do want to keep this at a collective level though, so I'm not ignoring it, but let's pull a few more and see if we can get some clarifying on that. Anyway, I'm really happy to be here. I'm going to work on my setup. I have bought all the things I need to do better visually stimulating collective readings. In my spare time, I'm always watching YouTube tarot readers and other spiritualists. I knew it. Dark night of the soul, the moon. So the shadow side, that's the thing. It feels like, because I'm just noticing that this Mercury retrograde, like yesterday or the day before, there was this big conflict between, you know, I'm talking about TikTok relations, but, you know, TikTok is a really good place for conversation to be opened up and spread throughout platforms. And so there's a current conversation about how Middle Eastern folks are anti-Black. There's Black folks talking about, you know, it's important for us to all understand, especially as coming from a white person. Like I said, I've been on a decolonizing journey, but I really have been in hermit mode, so I know I'm still super problematic when I get into spaces. It's not something I'm proud of, but it's also something I'm very aware of and something I'm working on. But I don't know. I feel like we're all going through this dark night of the soul, right? And we have to get to this point where we can purge what doesn't serve us or doesn't serve the collective as a whole, whether that's, like I said in the beginning, belief systems, relationships. I don't really talk to anyone in my family. I don't really have any friends anymore either. I think that's another thing that people really need to realize, is that this path is really, the path to decolonizing is very personal, but it's also something that we all have to be doing, right? That was too many and they didn't come out clear, so hang on, let me shuffle this way. I did just pull contracts, career, and commitments, and this card actually says until debt, you see that? Until debt tears us apart. Again, whatever you're going through in your interpersonal, take this how it resonates. I'm speaking to the collective as a collective. Things that I see are problematic, things that we can work on, things that we can all hope for. Forming structures and solid foundations. I think that's the thing, is like there's so much conflict that comes up that it's important to have conversations, right? And this is where myself I am in interpersonal too. It's important to call stuff out. It's important to share when you feel like you're being wronged. And I think that one of the things that the internet has really done for us as a collective is it's made it both harder and easier for communication to happen. But it's a lot harder with cancel culture and everything. It's a lot harder for folks to absolutely be able to grow into, you know, a good space. This is exactly what I'm feeling right now with this Mercury retrograde, is there is so much unnecessary, I mean, it's necessary, but it's also not. I made a video a long time ago about resistance and a common enemy. And I think that one of the things that we can really focus on is, you know, when you're coming into consciousness and when you're decolonizing and when you're a part of the movement for a better, you know, earth, world, whatever, that's not just for you, it's for everyone. And if you're someone who holds privilege, it's incredibly important to utilize that privilege for the better, for the greater good, for, to support, use your privilege to support the liberation of those who are more oppressed or marginalized than you. And what that looks like depends on, your path, what your strengths are, what your abilities, passions, relationships, geographic stuff, education, all of it. Even your careers, or what you do to make a living. Understand how you are oppressing others. Be open. This came out in reverse, so be open to receiving criticism, and not just criticism, but also what's the word I'm looking for? Leadership. Be open to receiving different points of view, areas of your improvement and growth, things like that. And also be mindful of the way that the message is delivered. If the message is coming to you out of ego, that doesn't necessarily, it's not really your issue, so be mindful and also aware. Self-care, but to a degree of being able to hold space, right? Not just, dipping out and only thinking about yourself. We've talked about this before. Every time self-care comes up, it's not being selfish. It's taking care of yourself so that, again, you can utilize whatever privilege you hold to support collective liberation. Freedom, leap, and opportunities. I think we're really close to this, but what I see happening as a collective, especially here in America, is that now people are all pretending like everything's fine because Kamala Harris is running, and it really sucks. It sucks because of the intersectionality in this movement, and I think that's what the conversation with these two creators was about. Ultimately it was about the presidential election, and but then anti-blackness came up, and now everyone's, it's just everyone's going after this Palestinian creator for being anti-black. And I wasn't there. I've seen some folks, but I'm, to the degree of it's attacking, I've had my fair share of call-outs, dreams and messages. Pay attention to the other realms, pay attention to nature, pay attention to the other things, especially if you're seeking some sort of guidance in what you can do to support collective liberation, if this isn't a path that you've been on very long. I'm going to pull two more, and then we are going to pull from the Earth Oracle. I for one feel like I can do more readings. I would like to get this less messy and chaotic, but that's just kind of who I am. You can't tell. I'm an artist. My excuse. Limitations and fears. Number one, whatever it is that you're afraid of, and we all have these things, fears. I fear, being scapegoated and sent to the gallows collectively. That doesn't sound like a fun thing for me. But we have to also not get to a point where we regret not doing anything, I think that everyone is on their own path. Everyone is able to make their own decisions, and I think ultimately we're the only ones that really know our heart. That's why I have the rose quartz here. It's like you're the only one that knows your feelings, your calling. You're the only one that can really know your intention. But then you also need to remember that intention and impact are very real. think that was the big thing for me in my conflict that I had last week, was that it wasn't my intention to insult someone's honesty and integrity, and that's a quote that they said, but that was the impact. That's how they felt. But I left that because I know that they've been taking advantage for, more than just these, couple situations that I brought up to talk about. And I recognize that in that conversation there was so much ego and so much blame, and I'm going to pull 4 of these. We have about 6 minutes. I'm going to pull 4 for one for each element as a collective. So if you know your sun sign and your rising and whatever, if you know your whole natal chart, take what resonates, and it doesn't even have to be in your chart to resonate. So for fire, Pachama. Pachama? I'll have to look it up. Fire, air. Oh gosh. The ghost dance. That seems appropriate. Earth is the council. And water, the smoky mirror. Alright, let's pull these up in the book, and then we'll just look at them. This is a gorgeous deck. Like I said, I have a million decks, and I rarely use them, so I'm sorry. That's probably disrespectful in itself, but I felt really called to be doing a reading. I was watching another reading, and it was pretty chaotic, and I was like, you know what? I am too. Let's go ahead and do it. Alright, so for fire, I did fire, air, earth, water. I don't know why I did that, but oh well. Alright, sorry, I already forgot. 82, we're just gonna take a little bit. I'm not gonna read all of this. I'm not a good public reader, which is why I stopped doing the shadow work stuff. The essence, Pachamama, sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, represents the unconditional love that the earth has for all of her children, including the stones, the plants, the animals, and the humans. She is the goddess of the earth, also known as Gaia, who pervades all the creation on our planet. Thanks to our timeless soul can experience life in a biological body. The joy and pain we taste during our brief time on earth are invitations to discover the boundless love of Pachamama. So that was what I pulled for fire, but it ends up being more about earth, which I find fascinating. And I think all that is to say is that I think for those of us who have been really paying attention to, what's happening in the world all over the globe, I know I get really down on seeing so much awful stuff, right? And so I feel like, I don't know, this is really beautiful, and you can see the earth right here, and then this looks like fire, and I feel like that's where we're at, and the number 4 too. 40 boils down to a 4 in numerology, and 4 elements: earth, fire, air, and water. Alright, let's go to, sorry, I'm gonna run out of time. Let's go to the ghost dancer. This was what I picked up for air. The ghost dance of the American Plains Indians united the spirits of the living with those of the ancestors to bring peace to the world. When the ancestors are honored, they bring harmony to us. When we hold them responsible for all that is wrong with us today, they haunt us. Honor the spirits of the ancestors and receive their lessons and gifts. This includes honoring your own past lives. For me, that's a huge part of spirituality. Again, this is 22. This also boils down to a 4. And that's the air. I'm a medium. I often commune with spirits. And it is appropriate that I grab that for the air element, because that's kind of where those reside. It's one of those things that's like the wind. You can't see it, but you believe it's there, and honoring that. One thing is, really quick before we move on, I only have like 2 minutes left. If you are a person of colonizing blood, if your ancestors were colonizers, you have to right the wrongs of them. If you want to do that with me, I will support you in that. I've done a lot of that work. The council, this is for earth element. The council are the human luminous beings who hold the collective wisdom of humanity. They are the ones before whom you will do your whole life review when you cross into the world of spirit. They remind you of your place around the sacred fire which has been reserved for you since the beginning of time. You will claim it when you own your own inner wisdom. I had to cut that a little short so that we can get everybody in. Number 11 boils down to a 2. See, this is what I don't want to do, is be so fucking chaotic. The last one, oh god, I have like, the last one is the smoky mirror. This is for water. The smoky mirror represents the aspects of what is implied yet cannot be immediately known in the world, and the mystery of how things come together and how they fall apart without obvious casualty. This symbol also represents the shadow of the human psyche and the parts of the self that one disowns. The smoky mirror can also represent